The first time I met her, she was standing outside a small grocery store wearing a faded sweater and holding two reusable shopping bags. Her gray hair was tied back, and her shoes looked worn from years of walking. Most people barely noticed her. But one man did. His name was Derek, and he had just stepped out of a brand new luxury SUV. He adjusted his expensive suit, looked at the elderly woman, and frowned as she accidentally bumped one of his shopping bags. "Oh, watch where you're going," he snapped. "I'm so sorry," she said softly. "I didn't mean to." Derek rolled his eyes. "People like you are always causing problems. Maybe if you spent less time begging and more time working, you wouldn't be in this situation." The parking lot fell silent. Several shoppers heard every word, but no one spoke up. The woman simply lowered her head, picked up the can of soup she had dropped, and whispered, "Have a good day." Derek laughed as he walked away. "Pathetic," he muttered. The woman slowly continued toward the bus stop. What Derek didn't know was that someone else had been watching the entire exchange. The grocery store owner walked over to the elderly woman. "Mrs. Aliner, are you all right?" She smiled kindly. "I'm fine, Thomas. Don't worry about me." Thomas shook his head. "He had no right to speak to you like that." She gently placed a hand on his shoulder. Sometimes people reveal who they truly are when they think their actions don't matter. 3 days later, Derek arrived at his company's headquarters expecting the biggest promotion of his career. Rumors had spread that a mysterious investor had purchased controlling shares of the company and wanted to meet the executive team. No one knew who the investor was. At exactly 10 o'clock, the boardroom doors opened. Every executive stood as an elegant woman entered the room. Derek's heart stopped. It was the same elderly woman from the grocery store. Only now she wore a tailored navy suit, elegant jewelry, and carried herself with quiet confidence. The chairman smiled. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet Mrs. Aliner Whitmore, our new majority shareholder and chairwoman." The room erupted into applause. Derek couldn't believe his eyes. Mrs. Whitmore looked directly at him. Their eyes met. She recognized him instantly. After the meeting ended, she asked him to stay behind. As the room emptied, Derek took a deep breath. "I owe you an apology," he said. "I judged you without knowing who you were." Mrs. Whitmore nodded calmly. "You're right, you judged me." She walked toward the large window overlooking the city. "When my husband passed away, I promised myself I would never let wealth become my identity." She smiled softly. "So once a week, I wear ordinary clothes, take the bus, and visit different neighborhoods." Derek frowned. "Why would you do that?" "Because money attracts performances. Humility reveals character." She turned to face him. "I've met strangers who shared their lunch with me, children who offered me their seats, cashiers who secretly paid for my groceries because they thought I couldn't afford them." She paused. "And then there are people like you." Derek lowered his head. "I've spent years building this company." "But not your character," she replied. Her words cut deeper than any insult. "I'm ashamed of what I said," Derek admitted. "If I could go back, I would." "You can't change yesterday," she said, "but you can decide who you'll become tomorrow." She handed him a folder. Instead of the promotion he expected, he was assigned to lead the company's community outreach program for 6 months. He would work directly with food banks, homeless shelters, and struggling families. No executive privileges. No assistance. No special treatment. "If you want to lead people," Mrs. Whitmore said, "first learn how to respect them." At first, Derek believed it was punishment. But as the weeks passed, everything changed. He met single parents working multiple jobs just to feed their children. He met veterans who had nowhere to sleep. He met elderly people who skipped meals so their grandchildren could eat. He realized that poverty wasn't always the result of laziness. Sometimes it came from illness. Sometimes from loss. sometimes from circumstances no one could control. For the first time in his life, he stopped judging people by their appearance. 6 months later, Derek returned to the boardroom. Mrs. Whitmore was waiting. "You've changed," she said. "I have," Derek replied. "I used to think success was measured by money. Now I know it's measured by how you treat people who have nothing to offer you." Mrs. Whitmore smiled warmly and extended her hand. "This time, you've earned your promotion." As Derek shook her hand, he realized the greatest lesson of his life hadn't been taught in a boardroom. It had been taught in a grocery store parking lot by a woman everyone overlooked. From that day forward, he treated every person with kindness and respect, because he finally understood that a person's true character is revealed not by how they treat the powerful, but by how they treat those they believe can do nothing for them.